For a field trip, 13 students rode in cars and the rest filled 10 buses. How many students were in each bus if 233 students were on the trip? So I went ahead and underlined important information. And the next thing I like to do is identify what my variable stands for. What is it asking for in this problem? Well, it's asking for how many students. So it would make sense to me to use S as the variable. And then you have to look at what the problem is asking. So we know that students were in 10 buses. So I know that it's going to be 10 times however many students are in those buses. And I'll just go ahead and write bus over top of it so we know what we're talking about. And they also traveled using cars, 2 ways of transportation, cars plus buses. So I know that just 13 students went in cars, plus the 10 buses filled with students. Those two numbers go together to equal the total number of students, which is 233. Once we have this set up, it's really just solving the two-step equation. I always like to draw my separator down the equal sign, and then, so I'm trying to get S by itself. So the first thing I want to do is get this constant term of 13 canceled on the left and over to the right. So I know if I have a positive 13, I'm going to minus 13. That'll cancel out and equal 0. Do the same thing to the opposite side of the equal sign, and I'm going to minus 13 here. What this last step is really saying is 10 times the number of students equals 220. So if I know 220 students went on the trip, I'm basically trying to figure out how many groups of 10. How can we separate this number into 10 buses? So, or you can think of it like these two are being multiplied, so I undo the multiplication by doing the opposite of division. And then I know that 10 over 10, or 10 divided by 10 equals 1, which is really that 1 in front of the S. And then whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So 220 divided by 10 gives me 22 students on each bus.